Alright guys, talking about Tundras. Same dealership here in Jacksonville. Bunch of Tundras. There's even Tundras back behind there. And the last time I filmed, there was a lot more Tundras. What I think is happening now is that they're actually starting to filter these vehicles around to different areas. But main thing I'm talking about right now, here for an example, let's see if these are 2024s. This is a 2024, so supposedly this one right here sitting as is 57,971. So let's see, is there anything special with it? This is a 4x4 SR5 double cab. It's got the 6.5 foot bed. Supposedly the recall that came out is not affecting 2024s. These look like they're all going to be 2024s. Let's see if this one is. Yeah, 2024, 57. They want 59,862 with their addendum, which is 1885. Now, 2022s, 2023s have a massive recall for the straight turbo 6s. So apparently where these are built, they're in the Toyota manufacturing engine plant in Alabama. Somehow metal shavings got into the area where the engine oil is, and bearings are seizing up in these things. So supposedly it's not any of these affected on the lot. However, you know, the problem is if you've already purchased one of these things and you know, a couple years ago, guess what you were doing? You're paying, I mean, horrible COVID prices, probably a markup, probably a dealer addendum. And now you're dealing with the headache and waiting for your shoe to drop to see if these things are going to crap out on you. In the airline industry, if a recall, or they call it an airworthiness directive, if an airworthiness directive is put out on engines, by the grace of God, they ground planes. So now this is the issue. You've bought one of these vehicles for God knows anywhere from $65,000. I've heard of people paying $100,000 for these things. And now you got to wait around to figure out what the hell is going to happen to your truck. And guess what? There's going to be over 100,000 of these things in the same boat. So now just, you know, what happened is you may have to wait in line behind other trucks in order to have a reliable vehicle. For $100,000, that is not worth it for me. I mean, I'm here at the dealership right now because I had to drop off my 2018 that had the air conditioning go out, which I'm actually pretty shocked, especially being a Toyota. However, part of it is covered under warranty. I got to pay for the Freon. But now the thing is, guess what? I've got to wait in line because there's a lot of people. They're like, here, I'll show you. Tons of people dropping off all their cars. You know, this dealership is actually really good. They take care of you well. So they're naturally going to want to bring their cars here. But the thing is, I got to drive all the way across town to get here. And now I know me and I know how I am. I'm going to be pretty upset if I just paid $100,000 for a truck. You know, if you think about over the cost of the loan and possibly getting a 7 to 8% interest, especially if you have good credit, you're going to be dropping a lot of money on these things. This one right here, look, check this out. This is iForce VMAX, or excuse me, the iForce Max. So this has got the cool engine. Supposedly these are not affected. Let's see how much this bad boy is. 85,000 bucks. Capstone. Okay, this is the real expensive. This is the Crew Max, and it's the HV, the hybrid 4x4. The thing I'm thinking is that I don't think that they know the problems yet for the hybrids that are out there. I know for me, if I was going to buy a truck, I would definitely get the hybrid version, even though questionably, who knows how long the batteries are going to last. This is a whole new system that Toyota's come out with. I'm not 100% exactly sure how it works, but I know there's an additional casing behind the gas-powered engine block, where that is the hybrid system, which does two things. It either supplies power or regenerates power to the batteries, depending on the driving conditions, depending on how fast you're going, if you're on the highway or if you're in the city. My point is that you are investing your money. You're not even investing. You're actually giving your money away for Toyota to figure all this out. Here we go. Let's look at the line of Tundras that we have going on. I mean, this is the Capstone. This is, I think, the most expensive version, unless if you're getting, supposedly they're coming out with the Trail Hunter version of this thing. And, you know, there's going to be people out there that just want to buy it. They'll pay $10,000, $20,000 over market because they could say that they're the first person to have the thing. You know, if you've got that kind of money to drop out of nowhere, by all means do it. Make a video on it so I can see how you like it or whatever the heck it is, and I'll wait a couple years afterwards to see what kind of purchase I'm gonna make. But if that's the case, I just don't see it with me and who I am spending that kind of money. Supposedly 2024s aren't going to have that issue. Well, we just don't know yet. And the other thing is too, is now in order to buy a Toyota, I mean, it kind of tarnishes the reputation for a Toyota being pretty reliable. It's pretty frustrating when you hear about people out there getting literally stuck. And now searching through the forums, I've only found out of those 100,000 vehicles, I've only understand that there's been a list of about 200 that the engines have legitimately blown. And when I say legitimately blown, I mean that the engines have completely just seized and stopped working. So I've been in a helicopter before. Metal shavings got into the transmission and a little light comes on. As soon as you see that light, your butt puckers very roughly, very hardly. You want to suck the seat all the way up in you, because now all of a sudden you're in the potential area where the fan that's on top of you can stop. Well, if that fan stops, guess what? You go plummeting down to the ground. Now, obviously, when you're driving a car, you can pull over to the side of the road, hopefully, and it's not that big of an issue. But the problem is, I want you to think about this. You got somebody driving this car. Usually in the back seat, there's passengers. Most likely, I don't know, I've got kids. My kids would be back there with me. Guess what? If we're driving somewhere, especially on the way to Atlanta, you could possibly be stuck somewhere, especially when you're paying over $85,000 for a vehicle. And now all of a sudden, guess what? You're waiting for a tow truck to come help you out, and then you're trying to figure out where you're going from there. Toyota is not giving any compensation. They're not giving any type of like, hey, our bad kind of thing. They're not doing anything with their business model to actually sit there and try to make it super, super right. You know, I've noticed a lot of companies these days, especially after COVID happened. I don't know what it is. If you look everywhere, I'm probably someone who's actually done this myself. The gratefulness of having a job and doing your work right seems to have gone out the window. Me being a pilot, I pay attention to what's going on in Boeing. Boeing's had a significant rash of issues when it comes to their aircraft. And now what I want you to think about is this. The reason why Boeing had issues with those aircraft is because there was a leadership issue. You know, Spirit Aerosystems was building the fuselages. Obviously, they were doing subpar work. There's all these whistleblowers that are coming out now, and 2 of them have mysteriously died. I mean, come on, Boeing, that's terrible. 2 of them have mysteriously died. And what you're seeing now is that underneath that umbrella, the leadership of that company, you're seeing that the mistakes are coming out. People didn't care. There's a lot of corporate greed going on. And then since then, you've had doors blowing off of Boeing's, massive groundings, airlines not being able to grow because they just don't have the aircraft to supply the passengers with the tickets and the seats to get from place to place. So you're seeing this massive shift of how people are not doing a good job anymore. And what I'm worried about is, if Boeing's doing that, and Boeing has been a staple for the aviation industry, now you've got Toyota having the same issue with 100,000 trucks being recalled, to include some Lexuses. So I'm really worried, and maybe if you throw some comments down below, I'm worried that Toyota is starting to go the same way. So that makes me kind of slow down my thought process of buying any cars for the foreseeable future. So I don't know if this is an effect of COVID. I know a lot of people, especially when COVID slowed down, there were tons of jobs available. So people were like, yeah, you're going to pay me. You know, I could go work somewhere else. Well, what I think is going to end up happening here is we have high interest rates. The housing market is slowing down. People aren't spending as much money as they used to. I think we're going to start seeing a slowdown, and we're going to start seeing a cutback. And a lot of people who are working for these companies, because companies just aren't probably going to be making the revenue that they're used to. Something to think about. All right, here we go. Here's another capstone. Let's see how much this one is. With the addendum, $85,000. So with taxes and everything, since the addendum here is less than $2 grand, I would not pay that. I don't even know. I would get it well below. They want $83,149. Cool. This is the Crew Max. This has got the iForce Max, all that kinds of stuff. But if I were buying any of these right now, yeah, no way I'm paying MSRP. You know, another thing too is I would force down their throat this recall so much that if you're trying to buy one of these new, you can sit there and say, I don't know what's going to happen to this vehicle. I may have to take out of my time to bring this car back to you after the recall. I know these are 2024s and they don't count. There's an airplane taking off. I know they don't count towards the total recall, but it took Toyota forever to admit that there was a problem with these vehicles. There were people on forums. Cars have been bought back from Toyota, and they're just kind of like trying to sweep things under the rug. So I want you to think about it. If you buy one of these vehicles and the engine blows, I want you to think about, yeah, Toyota is probably going to fix it however they do it. But the ass pain or the headache you're going to deal with in order to get there, plus, let's just say hypothetically speaking, out of those 100,000 trucks, let's say you have a total of 50,000 of them have their engines blown. Well, 50,000 of those things blow, guess where you're going to be? Whenever you make your claim, you're going to be put into the cog, into a list, and they're just going to say, sorry, when something's available, we'll try to get it to you. So now you're dealing with more pain, more suffering. So why would you even want to purchase one of these things from the get-go? That's the thing. You know, I know like having a new vehicle is absolutely awesome. It's a beautiful experience. I know when I bought my wife the Toyota Grand Highlander, I loved how I could provide for her. I loved how she was like, thank you so much, honey. I love this car. But the problem is this, is that if you have a Toyota and then all of a sudden the engine blows on you, you're going to be so mad, so irate. And then Toyota's got such a backing and a following, you're going to be having an uphill battle in order to sit there and have people listen to you because they're not going to believe you. And now this is the problem. If they don't believe you, you're going to be dealing with the frustration of, you know, having somebody not hear what the pain and struggle that you're going through. And guess what? Now you also have too, is on the back end of that COVID, you're going to have customer service reps that just aren't going to care. So now you're going to have to deal with that whole struggle just to get your car fixed. I'm sorry I'm ranting. I don't know. I just, you know, I'm kind of a guy. I actually played with dirt, you know, video games were definitely prominent in my life. You know, it's one of the reasons why I probably became a pilot. The other thing is too, is I actually went to school when there was no internet. So, you know, internet got introduced right when I was midway through high school. So I got a different view on how things are, but I've noticed that as a country, I'm starting to see that things just aren't as good as they used to be. I don't even know. I mean, I might be sounding like my grandfather, but I'm really, unfortunately pessimistic about the future of Toyota. And I think it's just because things have changed so much that it's really hard to find a good company that's going to try to stand behind their stuff. So, and just word of the wise, I fly Airbuses. I don't fly Boeings, but I've been on Boeings. And if you're out there, I know tons of pilots that operate Boeings, totally safe to fly. You know, it just sucks is because a lot of people have been affected by the slowdown in the aviation industry. And the other reason why I talk about the way I talk about things is because my job being an airline pilot, I am extremely susceptible to what happens in the economy, especially with discretionary spending, because my job depends on people wanting to go travel for work or travel for leisure. So if that money slows down and companies start tightening their belts and they start offering poor products, guess what's going to happen? My livelihood is also going to be affected. So you know what? I have no problem talking about the economy. Now, this dealership, inflation, you know, availability of vehicles. Here, let's take a look real quick. Tons of Tundras are available. These are all new, all right? Last time I was here, all the Tundras filled up this whole parking lot and they went back that way. But what I think is happening is you're seeing that the dealers are kind of playing musical chairs with these cars. I think they're just moving them, shuffling them around in order to make sure. Another thing is too, is all of these are 2024s, right? I haven't found a 2023 sitting on the lot, and probably because they did a complete stop order. I'm not 100% sure. If you guys know in the comments, leave a comment below. This is a 2024. This is definitely a new vehicle up here. 2024. That's the reason why there was a ton of 2022s and 2023s the last time I was here.
Okay, before we go any further, I just want to go over this recall and what it entails. And I'm pretty sure if you've already been paying attention to Toyota Tundras and all that stuff, you've seen it in depth, and there's some really good videos of other guys out there that are covering this. But overall, it's 102,000 trucks and Lexus LXs. There was debris left in the engine when they were building these things. And what happens is that debris would get into the bearings and cause bearing failure, which kills the engine. And I'm sure there's a whole other rash of different issues that these trucks were having because of the engine knocking and noises that were performed. So here, like right here, it says this in turn can cause engine knocking and inability to start or loss of power while driving. That loss of power means engine no work. It stops. So here, this is another point I wanted to show how severe this recall is. So I just went on Google real quick because I just, you know, to do the actual math and get in there and dive and try to figure out what Toyota's earnings reports were was just too much work for me. But if you look right here, 2022, they sold 104,000 plus Tundras. Okay. In 2023, they sold 125,000. Okay. So that's roughly almost 230,000 pickups, right? Out of those 230,000 pickups, you've got 102 plus or minus the Lexuses, 102,000 that are being recalled. That is a 1 in 2 chance that your Tundra out there that you bought during COVID prices, extremely crazy and dealer markups, you bought it then, and now this thing has a potential to blow on you. So, and moving on a little bit further, you're going to see in this video, I was like, I didn't see a 2023 on the lot. Well, the reason why is, thank God, they pulled them all off the lot because they weren't allowed to sell them. So if I say stuff like, oh, there's none here, there's none here, it's because I didn't do enough research. I apologize for that. That's totally on me, but I want you guys to understand what happened. You have a 1 in 2 chance between those 2 years of your truck having a severe engine problem. And this is Toyota. I mean, any similarities to Boeing on this? I pray not, okay? But if whistleblowers come out and they start croaking like what Boeing's had, I'm going to be asking some questions. All right, let's go back to it.
They are not here. They must have went back to the factory. They're not selling them, so they are not on this lot. But yeah, there you go. That's through my deductive reasoning, I figured out why there's less Tundras here now. They're not shuffling anything around. Think about what it costs to move vehicles around just from pure gas mileage. I mean, you got to get a truck. You got to get somebody to move all the cars onto the truck. You can't have, I don't know, 25 car salesmen to move cars around. I don't know. The guy, Brandon from Car Questions Answered, will probably be able to do a really good job explaining all that stuff. I wouldn't be surprised. Car dealers are kind of shady. They do what they need to do to make money, but not 1/20/23 anywhere on this lot. So they're definitely saving face. Super smart move that way. It just sucks as I'm not sure what's going to happen. So yep, 2024 Hybrid Max. But so super nice car salesman came out and talked to me. You know, I asked him what was going on with the recall. He said Toyota's going to make it right. Yeah, of course. I think I would say that too if I was a car salesman. My point is this: 2 years there were issues all over the forums, from turbo issues. Now they're having this bearing issue because of metal shavings, which can completely seize the engine out there while you're driving. Not a good thing to happen. Now what's going to happen is this iForce Max twin turbo hybrid setup, right, doesn't give you more gas mileage, it supposedly gives you more power, and it probably saves on emissions with this whole new green energy movement crap. The thing is this, is you don't know what's going to happen. You have no clue what's going to happen when it comes to this vehicle. So now I'm worried. We've got a brand new Grand Highlander. We just paid, it was like $53,000. I don't know what taxes, tag and title was like $55,000. The problem is that we basically paid a loan in order to invest in Toyota's research and development. I was looking very hard at getting a brand new Tundra. I'm holding off for a few years. The reason why I'm holding off for a few years is I don't want to have to put money towards Toyota for research and development to have an engine blow on me and then be extremely frustrated in probably a year-long process afterwards getting the problem corrected and not having a vehicle. So something for you guys to consider. I'm sure this, I hope people watch this and it generates a ton of comments, because who the heck in their right mind wants to buy a brand new vehicle? I think the lowest model I've seen here is $55,000 for a Tundra, and it's probably just going to be a normal SR5. Okay, who the heck is going to want to pay $85,000 for a capstone, right? Then deal with all the crazy struggle in order to get your car fixed and corrected. Now, I don't know what the percentages are if your car is going to actually fail, but for me, that's unsatisfactory. I want you to think about it. Why in the hell would you buy something where it has a potential to fail? Like if you were getting on my airline and you were walking up on the front and you were coming through as a passenger and you say, hey, how's it going? I say, well, you know what? We have a chance today that the engine's going to fail. Do you think you would get on that airplane? No, you would probably want a refund for your ticket. So the next thing is this: why would you want to buy a brand new car, brand new truck for over $65,000, depending on what trim level you're looking at, to have the thing potentially fail on you? So that's the question I have. It sucks, man. I wanted to buy a Tundra real bad, and I just completely talked myself out of it. Well, anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, share it. You know, I'm just trying to generate conversation to see what everybody else thinks. I know there's going to be people telling me I'm a Toyota hater. No, I'm not a Toyota hater. I've had 3 Tacomas. I love my Tacoma. I'm going to continue to keep adding stuff to it, maybe like a supercharger and all that stuff. My point is this: I intend to get more videos out like this, because eventually one day I'll probably buy a Tundra, but I'm going to wait to make sure all these issues are fixed and make sure the customer service is on point for anybody who has any issues. So till then, John the Pilot, I'll see you in the next video. Share this video, throw me some comments. I appreciate it. Take care, guys. Until next time. All the Tundras. These are all 2024s. You can't find a 2023 on the lot. Take care, guys.